So expanding a little on the post today where I listed the different types of tissues and said that you don't train differently to heal all the different types of tissues that you've been told, because you're not even supposed to know these other than the basic. I think a little kid could just understand bone, muscle. Even then they'd just be like this hard thing or this soft stuff, right? Skin, cartilage, fascia, meniscus, organs, lymph, tumors. I mean, we just package and sell so much that we get even confused with the words. So I just want to go on here on a video because it just doesn't allow me to do this on memes, and this is an important one because it comes up a lot in Zoom appointments. Not so much their questions, but the people I work with typically have been through the ringer of practitioners, and they've heard all the words and they know all the stuff, from collagen matrix to scans, DEXA, this and fascia and rhythmical and all the different training methods that they've been sold. I'm not going to mention them here because they just get publicity, because any publicity is good publicity. I'm not giving them any. So any named training system is just as bad as any named medical system, like homeopathy, chiropractic, naturopathic, functional, or allopathic, even German new medicine, which is one that everybody thinks is what we're talking about. It's not even close to what Cassie and I are talking about. But specifically what I'm talking about, since this is my page, I'll let Cassie go ahead and deal with us. She very graciously and beautifully and intelligently does. But training is the same way. Rehab methods are the same way. Whatever the name is, if there's a name attached to it, you just discredit it, disaccounted for the human element to it, the variability of the element, human element to it. So it comes up a lot. And I just want you to think about something. So at a point in our life where people were to stand over us and observe us, and we're basically paralyzed, and we're kind of swollen, we're drooling, we can't digest anything but just one thing typically. We're very immobile. We've lost the ability to move freely on this new terrain. We can't really use words as of yet. We don't really know how to process emotions or express emotions. We don't know how to connect really. We are massively coiled up into a little healing, evolving, adapting ball, and everybody wants to get involved. And if I shared with you, what if this version of us was a baby, everybody'd be like, oh, well, that's no big deal. You don't do anything. You just protect it, nourish it, love it, hug it, hold it. That's it. And let it do its thing. It's going to start walking in 12 to 15 months, guaranteed. And then if it's not, it's going to do something even greater than walking. It's just not expressed as walking. But all perfect. So when we put it that way, it sounds sick and diseased and dysfunctional. But then when we describe a baby, it's like, oh, but that's a baby. But I don't give a flying shit if you are 20, 40, 90, 197. If your expression of your body is your body, then that means it's for you and it's appropriate and it's perfect and it's specifically expressing how you're choosing to live. And so at that stage of our life, when we're a child teaching ourselves to walk, we're healing and developing fascia, we're healing and developing bone, we're healing and developing organs, we're healing and developing damaged tissue and excreting things that are in the air and in our mother's milk and in our mother and our grandmother and our great-grandmother and in the water and in the fucking blankets and in the goddamn essential oil diffuser that they have to diffuse into everybody and all the things and the pets and the animals and we are developing and processing. And that baby doesn't know what fascia is, it doesn't know what bone is, it doesn't know what muscle is, has no frigging clue. But it's going to develop these things and shape these things and craft these things, carve these things, all of us, into a fully functioning, upright human being able to walk and go on to bigger and better and more advanced things. But it has to walk first. So without knowing any of these tissues, with no programs in play, with no guidance in play other than just nourishment, protect, like the basic of essentials, no understanding of any other story, no news, no freedom posts, no fucking mama bear, huggy bear, none of this other stuff, just straight up raw innate beauty. Perfect. And if it's a healing expression that somebody else is going to call sick and disease, it's just a healing expression per who's been doing the living attached to this thing. We got to look at the whole family if we're going there. Another post. But that baby, you, the baby version of yourself, you healed and developed and regenerated and grew and built and reinforced these things without even knowing what they were. There were no programs in it. If we were in a part of the world that didn't have access to educational material, we're still healing. It's fucking unbelievable that we don't know the words of what all the stuff that everybody claims to know, yet we still heal. How is that possible? It's magic. Oh, it's because they eat beans. Oh, it's because they make a stew. Oh, it's because there's no Wi-Fi. Oh, it's because they make their own clothes and there's toxin polyester. Shut the fuck up. Because whatever variable you're going to say, there's people exposed to that variable and they're doing quite well. So we got to stop reducing it down to these single words that we think we're supposed to know in order to heal. It just makes it very confusing. It's very marketable and very business savvy, but you don't need it. So when it comes down to healing a specific tissue, that doesn't make any sense, yet we get overwhelmed into is it the fascia or is it the muscle? Oh, really? You can determine, the practitioner can determine the difference between the two? Are you joking me? Oh yeah, I'm feeling C2 and the facet joint is C2. Really? You're feeling that area right there. And what is that going to tell you? Unless you're just feeling your own and you're going to go ahead and make monster changes into your life and then sense some change on your own. But you interpreting the body of somebody else doesn't make any bit of sense. And the sensations that you're experiencing in healing, because the body only heals and adapts, is wired only to your tissues. Why am I not feeling the headaches and the migraines and the fascia tightness and the inflammation? Because it's not for me, it's for you. I got my own. And there's a reason that it's equipped that way. And yes, we're all connected. So before all the oneness people get involved, like, well, we're all connected. I get that. But when it comes down to our responsibility and our accountability and our healing journey, that we're the ones sensing it, we're the ones seeing it, we're the ones tasting it, smelling it, we're the ones that sit with it when we're in the darkness and the privacy of our own selves. And it is for us. So calm everything down. It doesn't matter what tissue is damaged. It doesn't matter. You don't need an image. You don't need to go get a specific test done. But the healing response is very real, very true, and not to be ignored. Any sensation is not to be wasted. And I tell my Zoom clients this all the time. Whatever sensations you are experiencing are for you, and you do not waste them. I don't care how arbitrary or how aloof or how frivolous people kind of make them seem. Nothing is to be wasted. And when you start living in a way that's true to human healing, you start to really sense a lot, and you almost foresee things happening before they do. It's great, but it can be overwhelming at times too, because you just feel it all. But that's the whole point, is to sense more of this life, not distract or numb more of this life, especially when there's a healing and adaptation response. So when it comes to tissues, it doesn't matter what's damaged. The changes you're going to need to make are going to be very simple, are going to be very hard at times, are going to be very needing to do a lot of work. You're going to have to feel a lot. You're going to have to wash out of everything you've done up until this point, because whatever you've done up to this point ain't working. We don't need to be a genius to understand that. And a lot of the times that washing out just clears things up, because you start seeing exactly what your body wanted you to see 3 months ago, 3 years ago, 30 years ago. So ease up on the type of tissue damaged, and especially in training and rehab, and then understand that any named medicine of any kind, careful with that stuff, because it takes the human out of healing. And that's not good for humans. Enjoy. And P.S. before practitioners, or you might think that, well, our knowledge of the tissue and our ability for science to be able to dive deep and understand what's going on at a deeper level with tests and breakthroughs and blah, 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 have made it so that we can heal sooner or faster or more efficiently or more people. So let's break that down. What does healing mean? Not feeling what you felt in the beginning, okay? And how is everything else in their life? Awful, disastrous, toxic, folded up onto itself, but their shoulder feels better? Okay, that's not medicine, not healing. And how long did that shoulder last? Well, it gave them a good 3-month window, and then everything kind of came back, and then everything kind of exploded in the other shoulder, and then the elbow, and then the person had no clue how to go ahead and take care of themselves, because that's not what we teach when we have breakthroughs in science and technology. We go ahead and shortcut and fast forward everyone so they don't have to go through the growth and the changes necessary to put someone in a position to be able to heal. Okay, so we didn't really help them. We kind of fucked them up. Got it, but it looks like we helped. Okay, cool. So just before we go down that road of knowing has helped us to be better and all this stuff, I question that, and I will challenge that to the greatest of my ability, because again, as I've said and seen in over 23 years, the people that heal truly and the most completely in a way that sets them up for future experiences and sensations, so they don't need a practitioner, are the ones that know the least, have the least amount of education and intelligence and knowledge other than just human intelligence, like experience. It's usually the streetwise people that end up kind of connecting the dots a little sooner. But not saying intelligence is a bad thing, it's a great thing. But to what end, and how are you using this tool of intellect and education and knowledge? Because knowledge is power. Okay. There's your PS.